All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
To Your Eternity, Season 1, Episode 11. Gugu done grown up.
Gugu's grown strong and big, and Rean and him are spending more time together. And
Fushi has a beard.
Fushi is showing signs of one of his forms growing.
Yeah, which is curious, to say the least.
Yeah, and it got us thinking about whether or not any of the other forms were growing.
Right.
Growing.
Yeah, why is it growing? What does it entail? If he has to switch out of a form and then switch back into it, will it, change things? Or, yeah.
Yeah, on some level, does he need to keep getting new forms in order to be immortal, maybe?
Right. Yeah.
Is there some aspect of this where, no, it's actually, it's good that he wanders, maybe, because then he can, keep, acquiring new forms of life to learn and, grow in the, knowledge department, but in the, maturation of their, body department, that's not necessarily something that he wants.
Right. But the path he's on is a legitimate option according to mysterious,
entity,
God being that no one else can see. But he did seem kind of disappointed, like maybe it's suboptimal in some way.
Or there's something that he's trying to protect Fushi from.
Right.
And I would say personally it's the idea of, the other kind of time that this was happening in the long term with March and all that was one that was rudely just taken away from him.
Yep.
But in this case, if everything is good, maybe it's best to move on while things are still, wonderful. But who's to say? Because this being might have some decent ability to see the future, or is just intelligent enough to be able to see the way the dominoes are going to fall, But there's no real way for us to be able to tell, because this being is quite enigmatic when it comes down to it, even when it's trying to help.
It still keeps that aura of mystery.
Yeah, exactly. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. Fucking shit, fuck.
You see, there's this mode that anime can get into where it's like, no. Happiness cannot exist, right? You can't have that. So and the fact that it was something as
so laid on thick by the policeman. And,
right. And granted, I'm really glad that we got the explanation for why that granite came apart like it did, because, if it had just been, no, it's just
too bad,
too bad, or the noble kid didn't like that you were talking to Rean, so he somehow destabilized the whole thing.
That would never happen.
No, that'd be bullshit, right?
Yeah.
It's the knockers attacking, because Fushi has stayed in one place for 4 years,
and if they are traveling by tree roots or something like that, all it would take is just to slowly just go underneath the stonework.
Right.
Pierce it up and then just slowly separate it.
So really, the person we have to blame is those two for taking so long to have the conversation.
Yeah, really.
Actually, if they had just been upfront about it, then they could have had that conversation. It would have been great, moved to somewhere else, and then, they would have been like, damn it. And the knockers would have been like, no, shit. The thing collapses behind them, and they're like, oh, what was that? Huh, weird,
I mean, they didn't specifically set up this to be there before he was
doing
this.
Totally.
They were doing this right now.
Yeah, as they were talking.
That wind in the trees could have been them moving, essentially.
Sure, yeah. And that's one of the things that I do really like about the knockers, is that since they're things that can take the appearance of plants or whatever, right? You don't necessarily know if they're around, right? You don't. Unless they're moving, right?
Right.
It's the gargoyle thing, right? It's just, it's a statue. Oh shit, it's not, Yeah. But okay.
Shit.
But Rean knows that Gugu was the one who saved her.
Right.
And that she's the reason why his face is all messed up. She still hasn't seen him without the mask, though. And I think that could be coming here. Because he's going to have to get rid of the mask because it's stone going into water.
Now, what could be incredible is if he's so strong...
He grabs onto the edge of the...
Well, what he does specifically is he just swims in such a way that he has his body weight underneath the stone mask as much as possible, that it's forcing it down directly across his entire body, which is also a bit buoyant in water. He could theoretically like just float his way.
Yeah, we've seen
without
crazier
drowning.
shit in this show, right? Like
And
but,
I would say the mask is probably about 30 pounds, I would say.
Yeah, but 30 pounds will definitely make you sink.
Yeah,
Like
maybe 40 actually.
Yeah, like it's pretty heavy duty. Now, it's possible that he could maybe take a big breath before he hits the water. The mask makes him sink to the bottom. It's not too deep, and then he like climbs back out because he's like near the edge of the area or whatever. Because yes, regular person would die from a fall like that, but we've seen crazier shit.
No. This is the other thing. The fall itself is not.
It might be like a deceptively like not as far as it seems.
The fall itself is high, but the amount of luck in some ways people can have with regards to falling into water specifically.
That's true. Well,
if you fall and land just the right way.
And there's another good thing to bring up because I'm thinking of the fact that water from high up it becomes like
60 to 100 feet.
Well, right, and that's at the point where water is like concrete if you hit it, but that's because of surface tension.
Right.
Because he was on a cliff out thing
and
that's going to hit the water
first. Yep.
That's going to break up the surface of the water. So I don't know how the science of that would work, but
I think
there is a way that theoretically like it could happen. I don't know if the numbers balance out, but there is an addressing of that problem.
Yeah, I will go out and bet money there is a 0% chance he dies.
Oh, like absolutely. With regards to the story, totally. Yeah.
And I would say that a person in real life falling from this height as well,
right? It's like
has actually a chance of living.
Yeah.
Like
yep.
Pretty decent one. So okay, gotcha. I love that they finally shared their moment. I understand that it took a while for them to do this. However, now because of this is the consequence. But Fushi, this is the thing that the being was warning you about.
Right.
Is that it's not about whether or not you guys will be able to protect each other, whether or not Gugu will be strong enough to, overcome them. It's the idea that because Gugu is a mortal being, if you screw up once, it's over for him.
Yep.
All that love and happiness and joy spent together will, in the being's mind, effectively be pointless.
Wasted, yeah.
Because you already learned all you needed to learn from Gugu,
now
right?
you're just playing house, right? You don't need to do that.
But no. All the things that the being was describing as mundane repetitions are all things that are a form of stimulation. And then they don't happen the same way every single time. like I love the idea that the being almost can't fully understand humanity in that regard, because it's just another reminder that the being is not human.
Not human, yeah.
But also,
feels very parasite in that way.
Sure, okay. But the point I was trying to make is that a being that seemingly is as limitless as this has actual limitations in the way it perceives things because it has to see them through a certain lens.
It's too macro in what it sees. So,
right.
like, when it comes to the importance of the little details.
The relationships.
The relationships.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, how valuable is that really, right?
Right.
And,
it's extremely valuable.
It's extremely valuable, and yet I like that we can kind of see the point or see the perspective of the being, because there is a very real issue that wasn't really addressed here, in that by depending on someone else for strength, you paint a target on their back for the knockers because they learn.
Exactly.
Right? And Gugu was able to save you the one time, and he saved you hardcore. It wasn't like a conjoined team effort or whatever.
Right.
He came in and saved your ass.
Yep.
Right? They know that.
Right.
So
they're scared of him.
Right?
Yeah, they're like, oh, he burns us. Well,
yeah, exactly.
Shit.
So at the very least, they're going to get him out of the way for the fight. You know,
let's get him in a way that he cannot fight back.
Right, even if the fall doesn't kill him, right?
Yeah, we can then get you before he comes back.
Exactly, yeah. And
so this party is fucked.
It's absolutely fucked. And what I love about this is that there's, like, this episode, when it started, I thought it was going to kind of go a particular way. Like
with
the
thing brother.
Like the brother coming back, it's like, oh yeah, past, that makes sense, right? Brother comes back, oh, he still has the ring, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And I thought that was going to be the conflict, right?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be the conflict, but the idea that it was the, no, we knew that the ring had to come back.
Right.
Because it is the memory.
Right. It's the way that Rean will realize that he was the one who saved her, right?
I love that.
And that was great, because it's something where the brother comes back and of course, Gugu, says no, hell no, get away from me, right? And while the brother could come back again in the future, that's just an open plot thread that they can continue.
Sure.
But for now, it caused this direct effect of, hey, the secret's out, basically. You end up being able to have that conversation with Rean, even though it takes a while, because it's an old thing. The wounds have healed over, right, so to speak. And
there's still a lot of pain there.
There's still a lot of pain there. You don't want to be fast to, reopen it and things like that. But then they have this conversation here, and it's wonderful, but then it's cut short. And there are so many ways that this party is screwed. One, the knockers are attacking. Okay. Two, Fushi will have to fight back. Three, Gugu, if he gets back up there somehow, he will probably have to ditch the mask, at which point he will be revealed to everybody and Rean, right? Four, if Gugu helps Fushi, he will probably burn the house down.
He will probably not just burn the house down, but he will probably end his relationship with Rean, because Rean's family will take her away from him.
And right.
Yeah.
And even
regardless of whether or not they win, they get out of this alive, and everything works out, and the knockers retreat to fight another day. Fushi will have to leave Gugu.
Well, and if Gugu goes along with Fushi,
but
then
I don't think he will.
Right, but I'm sure he'll want to, right? But if he does, then even if Rean is accepting of everything that happens, the house burns down, her parents are like, he's terrible, everyone sees his face, she sees his face, and she still accepts him and everything. Then there's the issue of, well, there are these monsters hunting my brother, and I want to help protect him. I'm mortal, which is a problem enough, but at least I have a fire-breathing stone mask. You don't have that. I don't know if... And then it's the superhero thing of, you need to stay away.
Sure,
because,
that's another ending
you'll then
that
become another
too.
target, right?
Yeah, that's sure. Now we have 3 potential endings outside of the Gugu dying ending.
Right.
Regardless of whether he comes back with or without the mask. I would think on some level that the part that would be really rough about this is that Gugu doesn't necessarily know the knockers attacked. So he has no sense of urgency getting back to protect Fushi.
That's a good point.
The brilliance of this attack is not just that Gugu fell and had no way of defending himself here. If anything, he just made sure that Rean didn't fall as well.
Which is a nice repeat of the past.
Good stuff, Gugu. Yes, it's thematically appropriate in that he's the one that will fall off the cliff, but not her. That's his thing. And that fits maybe a little bit with your ending of him being like, no. This cliff,
you need to be safe.
I have to weather this.
Right.
I can't have you trying this. Now, because it seemed like just an accident, he has no necessarily sense of urgency to get back here specifically to protect Fushi. And even if screams start coming up from the cliff and stuff,
he might think it's just because that I fell in.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Now, what I'm hoping,
hoping
is that at some point he's going to sort of see more debris fall from the house as Fushi transforms into the bear. And then he's going to be like, oh shit.
Yeah, yeah, that could work. But again, then it's a thing of where he would have to
have a whole other set of problems.
Yeah. So, okay. Worst possible timeline, though. Okay. Because this show sometimes seems to...
Rean dies.
Well, no. Rean doesn't die that's basic.
Dies in Gugu's
I'm
eyes.
talking like the worst timeline. The worst timeline is that Fushi kills Rean.
Yeah.
In his bear rampage by
falling debris from the house or something.
Or fighting the knockers, right? And or killing a bunch of the people there in their fights, basically.
Right.
Then it's a thing of where once this all comes down to, Fushi fighting the knockers, he's losing. Gugu comes back.
Yep.
Rean's like, Gugu, thing there. And then the knockers see, Rean and Gugu,
right?
And then grabs Rean and then just kills her basically to try and keep Gugu back.
That'd be real bad. I think I might be able to one up you though.
Oh, okay. What can be even worse?
Gugu ends up coming back in his desperation to save Fushi. He torches the knockers, including the house, and then Rean dies slowly in the fire, smoke, and all of that stuff because she's trapped there.
Yeah, that's
as he
pretty
watches.
bad. It's pretty bad. So your worst timeline is that Gugu lives.
Well, okay, that's the worst for Gugu, and then Gugu,
like the worst
and then
timeline-
Gugu jumps off the cliff again because he's in
Jesus.
despair.
Okay, that feels a bit much.
Yeah, that wouldn't.
I feel like the
happen.
worst timeline is honestly that Fushi has to say goodbye to Gugu, and Gugu either then is
like
is
Fushi.
either like
Fushi tries to like push him away to make sure that he doesn't like try and follow him or go with him or whatever.
And Gugu ends up alone, basically.
Right, and then it's the oh god, and then it's
Yeah.
the my brother abandoned me again.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I feel like Gugu living is in some ways the most painful way
Right,
that this could go.
Yeah, because then whatever
we
the
get to feel
painful
his
thing is that
reacting to
happens
that.
before, you know, like you're right, because then he gets to basically continue to live in suffering because he's used to suffering when it comes to like being a social outcast and things like that, right?
And
But-
getting unmasked would be pretty
and
bad
getting
too.
unmasked, yeah, that'd be bad on top of it. But he's always had his core group of people, or not always. He now has his core group of people that are his family, right?
And hopefully they stay that way.
Hopefully they stay that way. But that being sundered would be what would probably hurt the most.
Yeah, and it would probably be based on him accidentally killing some people with the fire. Once they showed the way that the fire thing worked, I was like, that seems very open to accidental use.
Uh-huh.
You have to like slam it really hard.
Now,
Okay.
granted,
Sure.
he did have like the ammunition things, so it does look like he has to act like he has to load it up with the flint or whatever.
I
to
was
then
gonna
make
bring
it
that
happen.
up. Yeah, the fact that they showed very like overtly. Look at them fold up in the cloth here. Some of the little cinder pieces, whatever
Right.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, these things. It's like yes. Now where were those?
Well, as long as they're not right at the mouthpiece of the mask, it should be fine.
Well, I don't think they'd be even in the mask.
Right, I don't think so either. And if those are just flint basically, and then it's stone against flint creates flame on the whatever
Then it doesn't
the
matter if
lighter
they
is,
get wet.
then
Either.
it doesn't matter if they get wet. It doesn't matter if they strike up against some other stone because that by itself is not going to make much flame, right?
Yeah.
You know, even the pilot flame that they have there is probably like some oiled thread or something, right? So that
Sure.
it can catch fire and stay there for a bit. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I really loved their final conversation with the music building.
that was great.
I'm calling it the final conversation already.
No, yeah, I know, right?
Of the episode. You guys know what I mean.
Like, because when that whole thing was happening, I'm just like, okay, I'm waiting for there to be like some interrupt that makes it really sad, or for like the episode to end there and then something to happen afterwards that's actually just really awful,
Right.
You know?
And we kind of got that.
We kinda
in
got
that-
it.
That conversation went all the way to the end, basically. And right as she was about to say, like, something.
Yeah.
Now, I'm wondering if there's any... No, there's no sign of roots or anything like that. So
Right.
this was very much a... Yeah, just a surprise.
If that was actually the being just saying, "Oh yeah, it's totally the Knockers," like that would be brutal.
And that it's it actually like doing
Yeah.
this. I don't think it would do this because it seems to have a very non-interventionist
Yeah,
policy.
it seems to kind of respect Gugu's decision or Fushi's decision, even if it doesn't agree with
it seems to respect life's
it.
freedom.
Sure, yeah.
Like the idea that it's important that life has the freedom to choose.
Right.
In that respect, it's almost like the non-interventionist God that
Right.
basically goes, "Oh, I understand that life is suffering, but it's important that life has free will." And it's like,
Right. It's well, yeah, and that's where you kind of get the inherent contradiction in this thing's behavior because it's like,
Right.
yes, free will is important, but these Knockers, their free will is being a problem right now. You know, yeah.
yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm gonna kind of try and like weight the scales. You know,
Yeah, just a little.
I'm gonna make your free will hopefully a bit better than theirs.
Right, but,
you
but
know?
with regular humans specifically, I think that's the thing, is that
Right.
knockers are not...
they don't care about regular humans.
Right, but they're not... I feel like they're not supposed to be here.
Right.
In
yeah.
the same way that Fushi is kind of an anomaly, and the being is also a bit of an anomaly, or extreme anomaly, I feel like the knockers are not supposed to be
Right,
part
and that's
of
why, and that's sort of
this
the
Earth, basically.
the balance of his approach is that okay, this is something that
warrants my intervention.
yeah,
a
I
little bit.
need to make a counterweight just so that it's not completely one-sided,
Yeah, otherwise, humanity is screwed.
Right. Exactly.
But that's the weird thing, is that
they're after Fushi, not humans.
Yeah, if they're not after humans, then why?
Right. Like, this is one of the things that is so that gives me so much that trips me up so much with the Knockers, is that this is a very intimate, small, personal scale story in a fantastical world, granted, right? But a very small, intimate scale of story.
But the Knockers don't really fit.
And the Knockers don't really seem to fit that.
Yeah, they don't.
And
really.
and even with them going after Fushi, he's being told that they're this big scale threat, but we only see them go after Fushi, right?
Right. So,
which makes me then doubt the god being, because it's like, oh, is he actually hiding stuff from Fushi in that they're actually just like him and they want what he's gotten?
Yeah. What I think it is personally is I think that the Knockers carry something that's similar to Fushi, and that they've absorbed things through stimulation or by their stealing kind of little like stuff method or whatever.
Right.
And the being wants to reclaim that from them, but needs Fushi to do it. Like,
sure.
Like in this respect, it needs to be something where Fushi does it, and then that way Fushi will then have all their experiences as well.
Yeah, he'll be the apotheosis, basically.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And then when it's all said and done, and then like just just basically be like, and
good job,
take it all in, and
right?
It's
yeah,
like, cool, and then I perpetuate my,
yeah,
whatever. Yeah, I think that the being is not malevolent in any way. It's just this thing that is so indifferent.
Right. It's hard for a being that powerful or assumed powerful to be omnipotent or to be malevolent. Yeah. Because if they were, then why would any of these humans be here? You know
exactly.
Yeah.
So in general, it's probably more that it's just so cold and detached from all of it that, for the most part, it doesn't care about Gugu or any of these humans here that much.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But all right. We've got something. Shitty situation. I was gonna say I really like the fact that, because this is such a common trope, that the guy that when it was like, you're mad,
I'm the dick, yeah,
was not the one that she was going to be
right. It was just
to.
Some random wealthy dude, and it's like, okay, yeah, whatever. It's like right, because the conflict in stories gets way less interesting if like the person the girl is going to be married off to is just an actual monster, because then it's not even a question of like romantic conflict. It's let's save this person from an abusive partner or whatever. Right.
And in this case, it's all we can see from the regular guy is that he's doing his best to be charming and trying to make her feel better.
Right.
But other than that,
and that's what you would hope a decent person would do in a situation like that, right?
So there's literally nothing we can judge him about other than he might be, like, on the better side of things with regards to a betrothal, because maybe he's like,
wealthy, powerful, high social status, whatever, right?
There's something going on there.
But because there is no glaring issue immediately with him as a person, that means then it focuses the situation back on Gugu and what is it that you want. You need to be upfront with yourself of why you would be trying to stop this marriage from happening, not because you're trying to save her from some monster, but because you love her and you want to tell her that. So, yeah.
And I gotta respect, like, freaking Rean. She's doing so much to try and be like, this is your chance.
Right. You can't kiss anybody with the mask on like that,
No, that's not that. I think that's kind of lazy stuff. I'm talking about the stuff before that, where she's like, this is your chance.
Make a move on me.
You said you love me, right?
Yeah. And somehow...
And he was just stammering his way. Now, I understand. He has his mask on. Yep. She has never known him without his mask.
That's a whole other level of like additional complication onto the I don't want to ruin the friendship we have, because
it's the thing of where could I have a family with you?
Yeah.
And have my kids grow up never seeing their dad's face. Like, that's something that's got to be a worm in his head driving him mad.
Yep.
So I I don't know if he believes he's even capable of being in a like relationship like
right.
that. So.
And that's one of the reasons where the whole superhero thing of I have to go away, you know, it's too dangerous for you or whatever. A lot of the times is a manner of deflection for the superhero character, because the normalcy is oftentimes scarier than the actual fighting the monster, right?
Right.
So, you know, that's why I generally don't like that path, and I hope that it doesn't end up going that way, but I can see that happening because it does make
like
sense.
A different kind of pain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But y'all, okay, let's go. Thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access. You can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yes, if any of that interests you, we'll see it there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.